Hey, what's going on?
Hey, neighbor. You see anything weird outside your house, you tell me, all right?
Dad, Mom's being weird.
Mom's always been weird.
What are you doing up here?
Don't let her in.
My son likes to play hide and seek. Can you bring him down?
I didn't say he was here.
You're a very stupid boy.
Can I help you?
He's Dylan home?
Dylan, down here, baby.
You know, your son Dylan?
I don't have a son.
He had no idea who I was talking about.
Listen to mommy. Stay, Dylan.
He's gone. I know it.
I'd like to report a missing kid.
Are you okay, Ben?
Where is your sister?
I need you to tell me what's going on. Ben!
Yeah. So what's been going on with you? How's the quarantine going for you?
You know what's funny? I've been a film critic for 25 years. I'm busier now than I've ever been. Because
Really?
even though there's not theatrical, but movies like yours, there's so many video on demands and so many movies from Sundance and documentaries and HBO, and it's like
Yeah, I guess it's true.
I've done 40 interviews in April. 40.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
Holy crap.
and there's still more coming. And May's booking up like crazy, so a lot of
That's
revenues dried up, but I'm busier
Yeah.
than ever. So
Yeah. Wow.
it's crazy. And I really enjoy this because, I do all the big movies and the tentpoles. It's so great to talk to people who've done documentaries or movies like yours that now are really shining because there's nothing coming out from the studios. And
Yeah,
you
we
guys-
got no competition.
Exactly. There he is. You guys look like brothers.
And we might be.
Maybe a little bit stuffed into the same apartment.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's in my spare bedroom with all the stuff I don't want to hang on to. No.
At least you're brothers because I'm about to kill my roommate, after being 7 weeks in quarantine, so.
Oh, yeah.
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 Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for talking to me today. I'm so excited to talk about The Wretched. I'm here with the Pierce brothers. And first of all, I love to pitch your movie. I think the pitch line would be The Knothole from Hell.
No. I haven't heard that one yet, but that's good.
Yeah.
We kept on calling it the Maw, and everyone's like, "What's a Maw?" And I'm like, "I don't know, an opening." No. It's like, so,
Well, I'm Generation X, and so your movie had a vibe and a feel to. I wrote all these down: Fright Night, The Goonies, Rear Window, and of course, my favorite movie of all time, Jaws. Every time you're at the marina, I just felt a Jaws vibe, and I just
That's our favorite film of all time.
never heard of those movies. No, I'm just kidding.
What movie?
How did you do that? How did you get that into your film while keeping your own idea and your own vision?
I think it was like we found the location in the marina, and literally my brother said, "This looks like Jaws." so you just kind of, and I like that feeling, and we wanted this contrast of, because like most horror movies are kind of dark and dank all the time, like all the way through the movie. So we wanted to like start a movie where it's like, wow, I'm in a very pleasant, wonderful boating town. It's beautiful. And almost in Jaws, it just kind of starts getting worse and worse because there's something awful preying on everybody and killing them, which we find that scarier and creepier. But I mean, you can't help but like work your influences into the things you make, even when it's intentional and it's not intentional. You like, the funny thing is, Drew and I will sit down and watch our movies like 2 years later, and we're like, oh my God, this is so obvious. This is what we're into,
Yeah,
But
it's usually a personal story. We don't realize until after we finish the movie that it's like about us. The first movie we made, it's completely different tone, but it's a zombie road trip comedy called Deadheads. And we didn't realize until we finished it that it was sort of about our journey wanting to be filmmakers and move out to LA together. It's this like buddy road trip comedy. And it's so sweet, but it's sort of about supporting each other and sort of following your dream. Yeah, you realize that your heart and soul, you can't help but sort of push all of those things into your movie.
And the Wretched is just because, Drew married an awful woman who eats his babies. No.
I was terrified of baby monitors. I was a new dad. So.
Well, it's important for the wretch to have a motivation. And I wrote down what I thought it was. There's a line you said, feast upon the forgotten. I mean, that's all you need. That's what the motivation for the wretch is.
Yeah. But what's really funny is it was such a debate when we were making it with all that type of stuff where like the rules and some of the things we tell you about the backstory because, and people can decide when they watch it, but Drew and I hate it when everything's completely spelled out because it makes it a little faker to me. It makes it feel like not so scary. So we like to spell out the rules, but let the edges be a little frayed and a little in the dark. So hopefully people put together a little bit themselves because I feel like that gives it a sense of reality a little more, hopefully.
It also makes it a little scarier to us. Yeah. It just depends on what type of horror fan you are, though, because I think there's
you guys gave a rule that I thought was very important because I can't stand horror films with demons or with witches or whatever you want to call it, and the characters can't fight back. They just have to take it. And you have salt, you have, you can shoot it, so at least you can do that because when you have these horror films where they're totally at their mercy, I'm just like, no, this thing can be stopped somehow. And maybe not successfully, but at least you're like, throw salt in its face. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. You can always keep the predator rule. If it bleeds, you can kill it, So that works fine.
And tell me about the origin of the Wretched symbol. What was that all about?
Oh man, that was the best story is we met with our production designer who she was like, what is this Wretched symbol? It's all over the script. Like, she thought it was going to be this elaborate thing. And we sat down with her. I'm like an artist. If you think I had something complicated, I just drew this sort of upside down, triangle. And she was like, I love it.
You gave it antlers. You gave it antlers.
Yeah, we gave it antlers.
Yeah, we wanted it to basically feel like a really rudimentary sort of like deer symbol. We love the idea of hooking the mythology of our witch, everything to nature, as if she's sort of survived like in nature, even as sort of like the world, expanded, like she's basically been living off the land and figuring out ways to sort of live within nature.
And we always wanted the symbology to be like deer. So, she arrives in a deer. The symbol looks like a deer. She lives out in the woods, but also we designed the mask that the wretch wears to be kind of like a deformed version of a deer skull. So it was iconography that we felt played really well to the type of creature we were trying to pull off. So we just built it in wherever we possibly could.
And going into the tree was definitely the climax of the film, the money shot, I think, of the whole movie. Tell me about making that set and working in there because it just looked filthy and disgusting.
It was. That was probably the nightmare shoot of the entire thing because we had kids, in that set, and it had 1.5 foot of water. So
dirty water.
Yeah, so it was just freezing cold and just a slog of a shoot, but we were so excited we sort of just pushed through it.
Yeah. Our director of photography was just like every time he looked at me, he was standing in it in like these rubber boots and shorts and like a wet t-shirt holding a camera. He just looked miserable. We're like, it looks great.
and in the script, obviously we wrote this massive sort of underground cave, and the set that we had was beautiful. It was designed by Marlena Fury, our production designer. She did such a great job, but it was only the size of like a small bedroom. So it was really trying to conceive and figure out how to make this feel like this epic sort of bigger, deeper space.
Yeah, it had like removable walls and parts we could move around to make areas feel different, look different. We'd move lights to make things feel different. So it was like a puzzle. We were like having to figure it out and try to make it feel like something that it wasn't. Yeah.
And I was glad that Ben went back for Lily because I thought you guys can be kind of sick in this movie, but I'm glad he went back for Lily. Yeah. I was mad. I was mad. And then take me through the makeup process of the wretch and that poor actress, what she had to go through. I couldn't pronounce
it. It was Madeline Strunkel.
Yeah, Madeline Strunkel. Creature. Yeah. It was a 4-hour makeup job every time for her, and I mean. The unfortunate part is she was such like a trooper about it. Like she loves doing this stuff. This is the first time she's gotten to play a monster, and she did a fantastic job. But she loved it. She's like totally into this type of thing, and she never complained once. But when we were shooting this movie, it's supposed to be a summer movie, but it was bitter cold. It was like the winter had just ended. We literally started shooting about 2 days after the snow melted, and so what she was wearing was so thin she might as well have been almost naked. So she
Yeah, it's
had
basically like a
cold
bikini
water.
that she's wearing.
Yeah, yeah. She had to be out in the middle of the night, so she was just freezing. So I mean, it was not easy, but she made it look easy.
And your score from Devin Burrows, very Bernard Herrmann. It just was, especially in the tree, just those tonalities and just really creepy. It sounds so original.
It's going to make him happy that you said that.
Yeah, we're massive fans of Bernard Herrmann. That was one of our big influences. We've known Devin since we were kids, since we were like 7, 8 years old. And we sent him a lot of tracks from Bernard Herrmann as sort of influences, and a little bit of Jaws, of course. But yeah, it was really cool.
And casting Ben, tell me about finding him, because he's the pillar of the whole movie.
He was he actually just sent us a tape. So we watched the tape audition. At the time, he was living in New Mexico, and he was living in New Mexico. He had
been in Hell or High Water.
He'd been in Hell or High Water, but he was working at a pizza shop. And we just loved his tape. He just kind of had like a part of the character in him already when we saw him. And when we talked to him about coming out, he was just so excited to be quitting his pizza job to go make a movie.
Yeah, but he's in the middle of winter, as you said, for the shoot, and he had to do a nude scene out of the pool. Was he too thrilled?
He was a little nervous about it. We were a little nervous for him.
His grandma decided to visit the set that night. So
yeah.
I think that's what made him most nervous.
And your credits, you have raccoon handler. How do I get that job?
Oh man, I guess you just got to raise a raccoon. I don't know how much handling this guy did. He just showed up. It was an Australian raccoon too. It wasn't indigenous to the location we were in. Hopefully nobody picks up on that. Yeah, it's pretty funny. We've worked with a squirrel wrangler now, and a raccoon wrangler, and a dog wrangler.
Yeah.
And of course, finding those two homes next to each other was the whole point of the story of the film. How did you find those two homes? That were shooting there.
That was a huge challenge. Yeah. We it's an indie film, so we did all of the location scouting ourselves. So it was us driving around for weeks on end in northern Michigan, and you're in a rural location, just driving around and knocking on random doors that are very spread out and saying, "Hey, we love your property. Do you think you'd want to shoot a movie here and have like 50, 60 people overwhelm your house for a month?" But yeah, we found this amazing bed and breakfast, and the owners were so sweet and so into it. They were horror fans, so they were pretty excited about it.
Well, the Wretched can never die as long as the movie's a success. So any sequel ideas?
Oh yeah. We just we try not to think about it too much, because we're like, we want it. We just had so many things that we had to remove from the script at some point because they either didn't fit, or maybe we're not things we couldn't pull off quite yet. But we've got an idea for a sequel that we really want to do.
When the Wretched came out of that deer and the claws, I mean, you had me. That was such an incredible.
Oh, good. That was one of the first scenes that we wrote and came up with that we were just so excited to do. It never got kicked out of the script.
Okay, I got a plot point that is bugging me. I got to ask you about it because it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
No spoilers, of course. It's just for me. So towards the end of the film, when Ben is arrested and he's taken to the lake and the cop is trying to drown him, and then, of course, he's under the influence of the Wretched, and then the cop shoots himself. He shoots himself. Now, I assume Ben took the police car to get back to the house so quickly. I'm not sure. Yeah. But even after all of that, and all of a sudden we're at the end now, and I'm like, how did a dead police officer, when Ben was in his custody, that bugged me. That really bugged me.
Oh, how did he go? How did
that get resolved? Because if there's a dead cop, he escaped with the car, regardless of what happened. He was just arrested for knifing his dad's girlfriend, right? So I'm like, now the cop is dead. He took the cop's gun, and I thought, how? And all of a sudden, it's like, I'm going back home. The summer's over. I'm like,
the idea behind it, partially it's a weird thing. Like sometimes you don't want to spend screen time on things that aren't super exciting. But the idea behind it is that they were aware that the cop tried to kill him, even though they might not know why. So it was done in self-defense.
Dash cam.
Yeah, dash cam.
There was a dash cam.
I'll figure it out for you.
Dash for me.
All the evidence burned up in the attic. I thought, he's going to see all the bodies, but that burned up. So I'm like,
that's why you just got to wait for the sequel.
Yeah. No, dash cam. That's it. They
dash cam actually,
doing that.
Honestly, you have solved our plot hole.
Yes, it just came to me. I watch a lot of live PDs.
Well, we'll put it after the credits. We'll go back and shoot a dash cam shot.
Yeah. And then the cops high five.
Cops just like rub their heads like.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, when you do the sequel, I want a cameo. I want to be killed. I want to be in the background. You got to get me in the Wretched 2, Electric Blue.
All right.
Okay.
We'll have the Wretched bust out of your chest.
Yeah.
Hey, and come visit us in Las Vegas when we reopen too. We'd love to have you.
Oh yeah.
That'd be
We've been
awesome.
there in over a year.
Yeah, we love Vegas.
Cool. All right, Drew. All right, Brett. Thanks so much for talking to me today. It was a thrill, and best of luck with the film.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Jeff.
Thanks.
Take care, man.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.